So welcome everybody to this lecture right here of this course. Now this is not going to be a normal lesson. Again, this is going to be a lecture. We're not going to be launching ChatGPT. We're not going to be inputting prompts. We're not going to be copying and pasting the results of ChatGPT in our Word document. In this lecture right here, in this PowerPoint presentation, we're going to be going through one of the most important aspects of a successful content creator, right? And this is his attractive character. Now listen, the era of which brands used to rule the market and rule the world is over. People have stopped looking for brands. People have stopped, idolizing brands, and they're seeking of genuine human interactions, genuine human relationships. This is why you see brands, starting to brand themselves as humans, right? You've seen Twitter or X being run by Elon Musk, who has a personal brand. You see Amazon being run by Jeff Bezos, who has a personal brand. You see Tim Cook, right, leading Apple. He has a personal brand. Personal brand is the future, and in the future, consumption, right, and content creation will be highly based on personal brands. Now, if you want to leverage your content and add a personal taste, if you will, in your content, you need to understand the principles in this lecture right here. The principles that we're going to be discussing in this PowerPoint presentation are going to be extremely valuable for you. Okay. Now, we are using ChatGPT in this course. We have been using ChatGPT a lot, right? From audience research to target audience creation to seeking the problems of our target audience to suggesting solutions to those problems. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to turn those solutions into content. But listen, we can't be completely replaced by ChatGPT, all right? And we don't want to be completely replaced by ChatGPT. The one factor that will keep us irreplaceable in the market as content creators is our ability to inspire others and this genuine human connection that we have with our audience. This is exactly what we're enhancing with this lesson right here. So without any further ado, welcome to this short PowerPoint presentation in which we're going to be going through again how to become an attractive character and how to lead a group of people with your content flawlessly without even thinking about it. So thank you very much, and again, welcome to this lesson. So again, ladies and gentlemen, in this lesson we're going to be discussing about storytelling or building the so-called attractive character. Why do you need one? Why do you need to become an attractive character? What are the 4 core elements of an attractive character, and what are the identities of an attractive character? So before we start, let's analyze actually the power of storytelling, why you need to become a good storyteller if you want your content to appeal to a lot of people and if you want to drive organic traffic to your content. As we know, storytelling is one of the most powerful tools for communicating a message and inspiring action. Now, don't get me wrong. When people think about storytelling, they're thinking about, reading a book to children or telling a story to children around a fire, right? But storytelling can be much more than this because communicating a message, right, and inspire action could originate and could refer to from reading a book to children to actually communicating your offer to a wide group of individuals and inspire them to click on your offer and be navigated to your website to buy, the product that you sell. So you can see that storytelling isn't only, entertainment. It could also have a marketing aspect around it. Now, the keys for a good story is to, first of all, make people relate with your story, make people feel something with your story, and we're going to back this topic, a lot, making people feel something with your story, right? And motivating people to take action after listening to your story, after listening to your words. In order to do all of that, you need to become the so-called attractive character. So in order to make people relate with you, in order to make people feel, to provoke feeling from your audience, and in order to motivate people to take action, you need to become an attractive character. Now, the attractive character is a concept that originates from this amazing book right here, .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. I've read this book. I 100% suggest you to read this book. It is an absolute must if you are a content creator, and the secrets that I'm going to be revealing to you in the next slides of this PowerPoint presentation originate from this book right here. They are evidence-based, they work, and Russell Brunson is an absolute genius in the field. Okay, so all of the secrets on how to become an attractive character, again, you can find in the .com Secrets book. Now, what is this attractive character? Now, in entrepreneurship and marketing, an attractive character is a persona created in order to build a following, influence customers, and drive action. I don't want you to narrow down only in entrepreneurship and marketing, but if you think about it, launching a YouTube channel, launching a TikTok channel, launching, an Instagram profile, it is entrepreneurship and it is marketing. You need to know how to drive people to watch your offers, to watch your content, to watch your videos, and an attractive character, okay, this persona that is created to build a following, influence customers, and drive action is the ultimate way for you to do so. Now, why do we need to have an attractive character? Take a look at this logo right here. Do you feel like this logo appeals to you? Do you feel like this logo makes you want to buy something from this company? The answer is no, because people build relationships with people. They do not build relationships with images. They do not build relationships with businesses. People build relationships with people. And each and every single one of the modern businesses, you can see that it has a person in which people want to relate to, in which people trust and build a relationship with. Apple again has Tim Cook, for example. Tesla has Elon Musk. Amazon has Jeff Bezos. Most big corporations have people in front of them. Remember that. Not images, not businesses, people. Now, if you want to build relationships with your customers or with your viewers and influence them in a meaningful way, then you need to create this attractive character. This will help you tell compelling stories, illustrate your values, and drive people to take action in your products. Now, taking action could be buying, could be subscribing, could be sharing a video. If you are an attractive character, making people buy your offers, making people subscribe to your channel, making people share your videos, it's going to be extremely easier because you're going to be giving so much value and you're going to be so influential to your people that they would feel obligated to give back by sharing a video, by liking a video, by subscribing to your channel. This is what an attractive character wins, how an attractive character wins. Now, an attractive character has, ladies and gentlemen, four elements, right? Four key elements. The first element is a backstory. Now I'm giving you the complete blueprint found, again, on .com secrets on how to create an attractive character. The first secret is that an attractive character has a backstory. I need you to remember this. Once we generate the content, once we brainstorm the video ideas, I want you to implement all of these four core elements and the four characteristics of an attractive character to your content, right? So you need a backstory. Every attractive character has a backstory. Where did they come from? How did they get to where they are? What obstacles did they face and how did they overcome those obstacles? To give you an example of my backstory on my content creation journey, right? I am a medical student. For example, this is my backstory. I was a medical student when I turned 20 years old. I was really interested in cameras, and I used to upload videos on YouTube, but I didn't see that much success on YouTube. Where did they get to where they are? So right now I'm a successful course creator. I love to monetize my passions and share, my knowledge with other people. All right. So how did I move from being, a small YouTube channel to actually sharing my passion through online course creators? This is what you need to elaborate on if you're an attractive character. What obstacles did they face and how did they overcome them? All right. So from point A, being a small YouTuber to point B, in my case at least, being a successful course creator, I had many problems. So actually let your people know, how did you overcome those problems? Now, if we would put my example out of the way, right, which is personalized, let's actually keep the example that we have been using in this course right here, which is fitness for surgeons. So let's see, where did our attractive character, let's say that we would create an attractive character to tailor to our target audience, right? So let's see, where did our attractive character come from? Let's say that I was a surgeon, right? If I'm selling this fitness for surgeons program, let's say that I'm a surgeon, right? And I was, where did they come from? I was very exhausted when I was operating. Then how did they get from where they are to where they are? How did they get to where they are? So I was exhausted from surgeries and then I started working out and then I built, for example, a muscular core and I relieved my stress. So now I'm not exhausted from my surgeries. What obstacles did they face and how did they overcome them? I didn't have time to work out. I didn't have the time to build like a nutritious meal in order to gain muscles. I was exhausted and stressed, and this made me not want to work out. So all of those are problems that our attractive character, in the case again of selling this fitness for surgeons course, for example, or content, would be at. Now, another great value of the attractive character is that the attractive character speaks in parables, right? Attractive characters don't just tell people what to do, they influence their followers with compelling stories and anecdotes. This is the power of storytelling. So, great storytelling with an attractive character persona blend together to create the ultimate content creation delivery machine. What is a parable? A parable is a story about something that happened in your attractive character's life. So, for example, if I'm an attractive character again in this niche of fitness for surgeons, I wouldn't say I want you to work out 2 times per week, right? This is not a compelling story, and this is not something that comes out of an attractive character. I would be like, so I used to operate on a lot of people, and this gave me a lot of physical and mental frustration, and I needed to find a way to improve this physical and mental frustration if I wanted to operate, for example, on twice as many people. This is why I started getting into fitness, and I started getting into fitness for stress relief for surgeons. Now I'm working out 2 times per week, and I've seen a massive increase in my mood and my physical endurance. This is how I'm able to operate on twice as much as people. So you can see that the same exact information at the end of the day, which is that you should work out twice a week, is delivered on 2 completely different ways. Now, you have the ability to use the things that happen throughout your life to teach and inspire others as well as sell products. So, example, all of your experiences that you had, all of the problems that you've faced and you've managed to overcome, you can use stories around those events, right, to inspire others as an attractive character. So you don't need to create this persona of an attractive character completely from scratch. You do not need to lie about your experiences as an attractive character. You just need to be genuine. You just need to be, talking with stories, anecdotes, and just be genuine. People that are genuine are very respected online. What is the third core element of an attractive character? Attractive characters share their flaws. This is very, very important. People don't and can't connect so well with perfect people, flawless people. They connect with real people who have flaws and actually make mistakes. Okay, think of your favorite book or television characters. They're probably not perfect. Spider-Man is not perfect. He's just a wacky kid, right, that goes to college and, he doesn't have that many friends, right? So our favorite book and television characters, well, if you exclude Superman or something, they're not perfect. They're interesting and fascinating because they're imperfect. And Superman, for example, is not perfect. He is imperfect because you can relate to them in a meaningful way. And that's why it's important for attractive characters not just to have flaws, but to share those flaws and being honest with them, right? It is extremely important if you want people to actually connect with you and find a way to relate with you, to get your problems out there, to talk to your people, talk to your audience about your flaws, about your problems. This is a great way to have people relate with you. In the niche, for example, for fitness for surgeons, I would admit, if I was an attractive character for that niche, that I was stressed, that I was in pain, that I couldn't deliver to my operations. I would admit those things because people also have the same problems with me, but then I would propose and I would analyze how I went from point A to having these problems from stress, to having these problems of having pain, all right, to point B. Then I went to point B, and people would be like, "Oh man, he managed to go to point B. I want to also go to point B, so I might as well listen to what he has to say." Right. The fourth element of an attractive character is that attractive characters harness the power of polarity. Now, this is optional. You don't need to do this, but as a rule of thumb, attractive characters harness the power of polarity. Right? They are controversial, right? And that's partly why they're so attractive, or at least to their target market. They stand for what they believe in, they have options, and they aren't afraid to polarize people who disagree with them. Again, polarity is a great way to make people really fall in love with you or hate you. If you are very, very, controversial about an option, you're gonna have people that are fanatic with what the point in which you stand, and people that just absolutely hate your standpoint. Now, it depends if you want to utilize this fourth element of attractive character in your niche. In the niche of fitness for surgeons, I don't know if we need to be that controversial and that to create that much polarity. But again, keep in mind that this is the fourth element of an attractive character, the fact that they harness the power of polarity. Now, different attractive characters, depending on your niche, depending on the content that you create, have different identities, all right? And there are actually four identities of an attractive character. The first one is a leader. Okay, now depending on your niche, you need to tailor yourself to one of those identities. If you're watching this course right here, and if you are actually a content creator and you're interested in creating more content and inspiring more people and growing your niche, you will probably, if you have some experience in content creation, you will be able to identify yourself in one of those identities. So pay close attention and identify which is your attractive character's identity, which is your identity. The first one is a leader. Leaders are attractive characters who lead their audience confidently and unapologetically from point A to point B. They know how to inspire their followers, and they tell compelling stories that influence their followers to take action. So a leader has a similar backstory to their followers, which is what makes them relatable, and so they also understand the pitfalls and challenges that their audience will face along the way. But the leader has already achieved the result that the audience wants to achieve. Does this make sense? So the leader once was exactly where his audience was, right, in point A, but the leader managed to overcome the problems, to overcome the obstacles, and go to point B. So now, as a person of authority, he teaches his people that are on point A, or his younger self, right, how to move from point A to point B, how to overcome those problems, how to overcome those obstacles. And how do we teach how to overcome problems and how to overcome obstacles? With content. Right? This is exactly what we're doing with ChatGPT. We're analyzing the problems of our target avatar, and then we're suggesting solutions to those problems through videos, through content. So this is the first identity of the attractive character, being a leader. The second identity that you could choose of your attractive character is being the adventurer or the crusader, right? The adventurer is a persona. The adventure persona is much more, scrappy than the leader. He's not perfect. He doesn't have all the answers, and they don't pretend to have all the answers. But their journey, their determination to get the answers, is compelling to people who want the results this attractive character is trying to achieve, right? So you take your people, you take your audience along with you in your journey to understand or to get from point A to point B. This is perfect actually in most content creation cases, and this is also amazing if you want to start creating content, if you want to build a community around yourself but you haven't achieved point B yet. People can relate with the adventurer, they can relate with the crusader, and they can also find sometimes more value from the adventurer or the crusader because he understands the problem that people are facing, right? They understand the problems that people are facing more vividly and more vibrantly than the leader, for example, which has overcome these problems years ago, and now he talks from a leader perspective. The persona of the adventurer or a crusader gives his audience a lot of attention and provides new, valuable information and insights as he comes by it, right? What is the next identity of an attractive character? It is the reporter or the evangelist, if you will. Now, this attractive character sets out to find answers that they don't really have. The reporters are, for example, people that run podcasts and are trying to get answers on things that, are hot, for example. Maybe they interview hundreds of people. Let's say Joe Rogan, for example, right? He doesn't have all the answers. He's just trying to figure things out as he goes along the way. And this is why he asks of all of those guests to talk on his podcast, right? Maybe they write a book, or maybe they document their research via a newsletter. Whatever the case, as they're growing and learning, they're taking their audience along with them. So as you can see, the reporter or the evangelist has shares some characteristics with the adventurer or the crusader. So those two types of attractive characters are more similar than, for example, the leader. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this was the attractive character. So let's analyze what we've discussed in this lesson right here. Where first of all, we discussed the importance of being an attractive character and the importance of having an attractive character as the face of your content. Why do you want to do this? Because people don't resemble with brands, people don't resemble with logos, people resemble and relate to attractive character. This is why all brands have attractive characters along their, general image. Now, attractive characters have elements and identities. 4 elements, for example, and 4 identities, which we summarized in 3. The 4 elements of an attractive character is that they have a backstory, they speak with parables, they have flaws, and they create polarity. If you combine all of those 4 elements in one attractive character, as you can imagine, you have a very, very powerful, attractive character that's going to drive a lot of attention in your offers and in your content. And there are different identities in your target attractive character. So we got the leader, we got the adventurer, and we got the reporter. 3 different type of identities. We're not going to talk about the reluctant hero right now, and we're not going to talk about storylines because it deviates a lot out of our course theme. All right, I want you to also remember that as the identity, if you have completely solved the problem of your target audience, if you have managed to bring yourself from point A completely to point B, then you can 100%, get the identity of a leader. You can become a leader and you can point out how your audience can overcome the obstacles that you have overcome in your past. If you haven't quite reached point B, you can talk from the point of the adventurer or the reporter. Actively reporting the problems that you're facing and actively reporting how you're going to solve them. So, ladies and gentlemen, this right here was attractive character. I hope that this lecture was informative, and I hope that I unlocked new data sets that you can utilize to become a very, very successful content creator. Now, we're going to go back to ChatGPT in the next lesson. And what we're doing in the next lesson is that we're taking the solutions of the problems of our target avatar that we have identified in the previous lesson, right? And then we're creating direct content ideas, direct titles for long form videos for our YouTube channel out of the solutions of the main problems that our target avatar has. In later lessons of this course, we are taking this long form content that we have created and using artificial intelligence, we're striking it down into many, many short form content bits in order for you to distribute in all marketplaces. So thank you very much for being here. And now let's move to the next lesson, in which we're going to be discussing again on how to turn solutions of your problems into content creation ideas.